Okay, I'm getting this vibe. Okay, let me do something with it. And then we can stretch it a bit, right? Just like this. In this video, I'm gonna share 11 sound design tips that will blow your mind. So let's just start right away because that's gonna be really hard. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Vlad and I create superstar music producers. So here are the things that we're gonna be talking about. So granular synthesis, resampling, layering, organic and electronic sounds, Foley and field recording using those sounds in your productions, parallel processing and effects, creative filtering, non-standard way of using plugins, Vocoder, using delay for saturation, beautiful delay tails, and extreme time stretching. Alright, so let's talk about technique number one, which is going to be granular synthesis. This is a beautiful technique for making lush pads, atmospheres, adding those like little particles to your tracks. So let me show you one of the loops that I chose for this one. So this is the original one, and then with the granular synthesis, really nice, like beautiful and tonal sound depending on what you want to get. Let's try with the flute. One thing that sometimes granular synthesis, it doesn't work with all of the sounds. So maybe with this one it's not going to work, but we can try. Yeah, well, you can see just with some of the sounds it just doesn't sound really that nice. But for example, if we take like a bass shot, now we made a bass shot into some sort of like pulsating pad sound, and the original one sounded like this. And then again, you can do with piano, you can do with the vocals, even like if you have like a short sound that you want to turn into a pad, granular synthesis will be the best thing that you can do with that. Okay, so let's talk about the next technique, which is going to be resampling. So with resampling, you can have so much fun, like for real. So let's use one of the loops that I have. For example, we could use probably this one. So this is like sort of like rhythmic sound, and it sounds like this. Okay, so with resampling, what we could really do is, let's say we could do like, and then we can put some, let's copy it, and then we can put some effects on top of that. Just like really simple one. And this is how it's going to sound. Right, so that's pretty cool. And then maybe we can emphasize different parts of this one. Okay. And with this one too. So this part we could take and maybe just filter out a little bit. Right, so this is what I would consider resampling. And then again, if we decide to play with this loop a little bit more, we could stretch it. Do something like this. That could also work really well in the mix. Maybe we can pitch it a bit more. Okay, and then we can put the kick on top, and then we're gonna have a pretty, let's just play with it real quick. We're gonna have a pretty nice, Okay, I'm getting this vibe. Okay, let me do something with it. That's really cool resampling thing that you can do. And then we can stretch it a bit, right? Just like this. Right? This is like really simple, but so cool. The main concept behind resampling is it's just you take the original sound, you apply effects on top, right? So for example, again, we could copy, and then I could do something more like, let's say, like this. I'm going to reverse the sound, and then maybe put some, let's say, distortion, overdrive or something like that, just to give you guys an idea. And we can put it actually here. That would be really nice. Okay, and then every second bar or loop, we can put it. Right, so this is like really simple stuff. And then again, you could go really crazy with resampling. One more thing that I want to show you just real quick so we could summarize and I can tell you more about this technique. Let's say, again, we're going to take this, going to put a new track on it, and then we could just use some, let's just use the same plugin, but without, and make it like really, and maybe this one we could instead just make as the, in the original pitch, something like this, and then use a different, something like this, increase the feedback, right? So that sounds pretty cool. And what we've just done, we just resampled our original loop, and then with the drums sounds like this. And maybe we could put it here instead so it's more interesting. Actually, I like the original warping. Yeah, so you get the idea. Really simple technique, but it's just really nice. I like it. So now let's talk about next one. And this is one of my signature sound design techniques, is layering organic and electronic sounds. So let me just show you the track real quick, how it sounds so you can get the vibe. So what's cool about this track is that I layered the main lead sound, which sounds like this. And all together, it sounds actually way more complex and way more interesting. And then we have the brass sound, right? So this one is like really simple. The key to this technique is to select the sounds that would add to each other something. Here's another example of the same technique. What I've done, I layered the lead sound, I layered some orchestral instruments, I layered the sax, and I put accents with those live instruments on like specific parts of the track. So I think it was somewhere. need to pay attention to those like little fills, little accents, and overall sound of the lead, like of the lead, the main melody. And then let's compare the sounds to how it was in the beginning. So the character is a bit different, and this is the beauty of layering organic and electronic sounds, because they sort of like just complement each other. They add something to each other, and it starts to sound like way more interesting if you do it this way. So that's the third technique. Okay, now let's talk about Foley and field recording. So this is one of my like top favorite techniques when it comes to adding little textures, little beautiful sounds to the mix. So let me show you. All right, so this is the loop that I have. And now we're going to turn this loop into something really cool. And the beauty of this method is that you could literally do this with any sound that you want. So let me show you what you can do. So what we'll need for this is to warp the file, and then we're going to select beats. We're going to select like everything, Command plus A, and then we're going to press Command plus U, and then it's going to warp everything. And then you want to select this one, just like one arrow, and then 116. And then you want to do like this. And what we've got is going to be a really nice organic sort of like loop that we can use on top of the drums. Now let's use a filter on top of that. Maybe we can use some clipper because there's some peaks that I don't quite like. And then we can apply some delay, some reverb, and it's going to be really cool. Maybe you don't want to use the full loop, but you can just, you can pitch it. So maybe we can just keep this one. This is also like really cool. It's almost like a percussion. It's pretty groovy, right? Let me give you one more example how you could use Foley field recording loops, for example, in your breakdown. So this is the track that I made a while ago, and what I used a Thunder recording that I recorded on my mic like in 2018 back in my hometown, and this is how it sounds like. It's really beautiful.
And I am not putting a lot of question in that expression of the universe. So I prefer, say, I don't know who.
Right, so you can hear the little birds, the thunder, although I cut the low end, but it really adds that nice atmosphere. And sometimes you don't even need to warp the file. You can just like drop it under the drums, under the main drop itself, and it's gonna add that nice background texture. So Foley, really play around with that, and with the techniques that we're going to break down after that, you can take it to the next level. So that's it. Okay, so the next technique that I want to show you is going to be the parallel processing and effects. This is the loop that we have. And I'm going to use a plugin called Isotope Trash 2, which is a really cool plugin to add some texture. Okay, so we're going to put it on the channel, and then we are going to create a group, basically like a rack, and this one is going to be wet, and this one is going to be dry. Okay, so the dry, let's make it white, and this one is going to be pink. And what we're going to do, we're just going to find like a really cool preset, because I don't want to take a lot of time, because I could be tweaking that for quite a long time. So we can just find something that sounds cool. Okay, for example. And now what we can do, now we can mix that to our original sound. And depending how aggressive we want it to sound, we can automate that even, right? Maybe we want to compress that a bit. Let's say, I don't know, maybe it's already compressed. It should be. No, actually not. So let's just compress the hell out of it. Make it really aggressive. Sometimes you don't need that really. Maybe we can just compress it a bit. Not that much. But it's already sounding pretty cool. So with the parallel processing, you can apply the same concepts to the instruments, to the drums, to the vocals, anything really. Okay, the original sound. Right, and then we can create even more of those chains, and you don't need to put like distortion. We can put, let's say we're gonna put some spatial effects like Valhalla Supermassive, which is a really cool plugin. Right, and then we can mix it 100%, and then maybe -12. Let's solo. A little bit less feedback. Something like this, and then -6. And all together. Really cool, really simple, so play with that, guys. You're gonna love this technique. The more you dive deep into it, the more you will enjoy it. Alright, so now let's talk about creative ways how you could filter your sound. So I'm gonna show you a really cool loop that I have, and then you can get a taste of it, how it sounds. Let me bypass the second one. And this is without. And with the delay and the reverb. Now I want you to listen how it sounds in the final mix. Alright, so it's way different to how it sounds like in the original way. It's still sounding good. It's still sounding good. But the main thing that I want you to understand is that you can do so many cool things with the filters. You can see that I apply like literally 3 filters. And there's one really cool filter plugin that I use. I think it's just about $30. But what it does, it's just so cool. Let me show you. It's called a Slink filter, and it's a really complex filter. So really nice. And then there's some sort of modulation that you can do. Something like this. And then again, you can apply some saturation. Then play with the second filter. Apply some delay. And then we have like a really cool sound design, ethnic kind of loop. And then we can put a reverb on top of that. Again, gonna be really cool. So there are a lot of ways how you could utilize filters. One more thing that I want to show you is going to be Volcano by FabFilter. So this one is also cool, and you could see, okay, modulation. So this one's pretty nice. What's cool about it is that it's a filter, but it may sound like, you can see chorus. But what it is essentially is like different filters that are moving at the same time. Right, something like this. Again, FX. So like a lot of cool things that you could do. This is like super weird. FX. Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about a really interesting way of using plugins. So a while ago, I think like 2019, I made a track, and there's a synth. There's a plugin that is called Vocal Synth, and it's meant for the vocal, right? But you want to think out of the box. So I had an ethnic instrument. It was called the Duke, and I put it on my Duke, and at the end of the day, it ended up sounding so cool that I want to show you the same technique and actually just make you think out of the box, make you think creatively, because this is something that could accidentally give you some really cool results. And then we're gonna put this plugin and play with it a bit. Okay, Vocal Synth. It's actually weird because on vocals quite often this plugin, I don't like how it sounds, and then this is like really cool. I just love this technique so much. This is more like epic, sort of like orchestral, or opera sound, I would say. And this could be like a sort of like deep pad or something like that. So it's a really quick tip. The main point that I want to do, this is really quick tip, but the main point that I want to tell you is if the plugin is meant to be used one way, use it in another way. Be creative, use it how you should not use it, because this is how you get a really cool sound at the end of the day. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so the next step that I want to show you is going to be a vocoder, creative ways of how. Okay, here's one more example what you could do with the vocoder. So I have two loops. One is a percussion loop, and the second one is sort of like just chords, textures, whatever. So what you could do with a vocoder, you could fuse different sounds together. So what I've done, I put a vocoder on the percussion loop, and then I routed the second loop to the percussion, and all together it now sounds like this. can tweak it. Really cool and simple way to add more rhythm, more variation, and fuse different sounds together. So make sure you try this one out. Alright, so let's talk about next tip, using delay for saturation. This is a really cool technique. Again, we go back to the ways of how you can use plugins in a non-standard way. So let's play with this loop bit. So what you could do, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply a plugin called Echo Boy to this sound, and then we're going to play a little bit with the parameters. So I'm going to set the time to like, and then I'm going to play with the saturation. Input, in, output, back. Right. And then we can play with different parameters. So this is Studio Tape. There are other plugins that so this is Studio Tape algorithm, and there are different styles that are way more aggressive. So this one is pretty cool. So depending on how much you want of this FX, you can play with it a bit. This one is pretty nice. Telephone, sort of like old telephone kind of sounds. Yeah, so this one is pretty simple. You get the idea. If you want to make something like this with Ableton stock plugin, then we can just use delay. But the sound will be a bit more like limited to a specific flavor, because in the stock delay plugin you cannot really do that much. But anyway, it's pretty cool actually. So if we do like something like, so it will be limited to this sort of like metallic kind of sound. And depending on the delay time, this is cool. And then you can process it further, let's say with the EQ. Maybe something like this. And then we can use it as, let's say, parallel, one of the techniques that we discussed. Something like this. Pretty cool stuff. All right, and we are almost there, and we have 2 techniques left. So let's talk about how you could create beautiful delay tails. So this will involve a little bit of advanced routing and automation. So let me find a cool sound. So I think the Duke will be pretty nice. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, that's gonna be our original track, and we're gonna call it the Duke. and then we will create another track. And we will route the Duke to the second track, just like this. Okay, Duke, post FX, actually, and then we're going to select in, so the sound is coming in and coming out, right? So it basically like doubles. Now, what you want to do is use the delay that you like. Doesn't really matter which one. For me, it's Echo Boy because it has a really nice like rhythmic algorithm. And what we're gonna do, 100% mix, increase the feedback here too, and we're gonna do like this. So we just want this part. So what we're gonna do, we are going to, depending, let's say on the length, we're going to put the utility here, and we are going to control, so what part of the track do we want to have the delay on, right? Right, and we can slowly introduce that reverb, delay, excuse me. So maybe like this. And this could be something really, really cool and beautiful, especially in the track with the vocals. Yeah, super simple technique, and you can use it basically on any sounds, you know, really, really cool stuff that I like using sometimes depending on the sounds that I have. And we have the last technique for today, which is also really, really cool. It's really, really fun. And I'm talking about extreme time stretching. So there's a plugin called Pulse Stretch. And what you could do is that you could literally just take like any sound, put it in here, and make really long textures and sounds. So I'm going to import some of the sounds that I used before, so we could play with that a bit. Okay, so let's stretch this one. Okay, and then we can play with different parameters here. Wait. So this is pretty weird, right? We can play with this. Something like this, which is also pretty weird. We can play with the octaves. Now this is sort of like orchestral sound, right? It's really nice, like really deep and beautiful. So yeah, depending on the parameters, you can get really, really cool sounds. And the best thing about this one is, again, you can put a guitar and get a nice like sort of string-ish kind of sound. For this one, you can put a vocal, you can put anything, and it will give you really nice and beautiful texture, especially if you select the same sounds that you had in the track. It will be the same, and it could add a really nice layer to your music. So yeah, that was it for today, guys. Those are 11 really cool sound design techniques that I like using in my music. Hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Any ideas? Don't forget to subscribe if you like it. Hit that like button and notification bell. And if you want to work one-on-one with me on your music, just send me a message on Instagram and let's chat. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.